Hi, everybody. So welcome to our Have It All training. I'm super excited. This is our first call. I have muted everybody, and if you are in a noisy place, make sure always to be muted. Even the littlest bit of paper shuffling shows up on these calls. So we want to be very conscious of that and also be respectful to those around us so that everybody can hear. Can everybody hear me okay? If I can get a thumbs up, something from those of you. Perfect. All right. So welcome to our first call. So these calls are going to last approximately 30 minutes, and there will be time for questions at the end. And I encourage you to take notes. So use the little notebook, the little workbook that we gave you. And if you don't have access to this, ask your director for a copy. It's great for just giving you what to think about during these calls, what to take away, kind of just to help you think through what you're going to learn. So I want to start off, I'll introduce myself. My name is Melody Govig. I have been with Pampered Chef for 14 years. I'm an executive director, and I'm going to tell you my story here in just a minute. But I want you all to imagine if you are sitting down, close your eyes. If you're driving, please don't close your eyes. But so those of you that are sitting down, if you're driving, then you can just look forward and then just think. And I want you to think about what you would like to have this summer. We're just kicking off summer. Technically, summer hasn't started yet because it's not June 21st yet. But what would you like to have? What would you like to do with your family or with your friends? What is on your summer bucket list? And when you imagine the perfect summer, what does that look like to you? What things would you like to have or to do but haven't gotten around to it? What's your favorite thing to do every summer? And if you're like me, we actually have a bucket, and we take clothespins and we write our summer goals on these clothespins and we pin them all around the little bucket. And then as we accomplish those, we put them in the bucket. And if you're like me, you have these things you want to do, but summer disappears from you. You blink your eyes and it's gone, and it's fall and school's starting back and everybody's getting back in their busy schedule. So you want to maximize your time now. Don't let a day slip by without really being focused and intentional about what you're doing. And so come September 1st, when you're winding down from the summer and you're starting to reflect on how the summer went, what would that look like to you? What would make you the most happy and the most joyful when you reflect on the summer? What would just make your heart full? I want you to jot some of those notes down. So write down those things that mean the most to you, the people that you really want to spend time with this summer, and just what would you like to be doing? And I'm seeing family time, camping, fishing. Love all of those. Spending time with your kids, getting your kids to listen to you. Good luck with that one, Jessica. So if you figure out how to do that, I'm just kidding. Road trips, that's another great one. So all those things, swimming, right? Oh, have more customers and earn a paycheck. Really like that one. Cabin by the lake. All these fun things. I was talking to somebody on my team today, and she wants a camper, and she's wanting to purchase a camper so they can go camping more often. So during this season, we're going to be sharing how to have it all. We want you to see how you can have everything that you want along with your business. It doesn't have to be one or the other, but you can have both. Doesn't that sound good? So to kick us off, I want to share my story. So like I said, I've been with Pampered Chef for 14 years, and I started because I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. Is that any of you guys? We desperately needed the money, and I'll tell you that we were struggling to make ends meet. And we were so far behind on our bills, you guys. We were in a new area. We didn't know anybody. We lived in the Atlanta area, and all the people that I knew was the person that sold us our house, my realtor, and I had met my next door neighbor. That was literally the only people I knew in Atlanta. And like I said, we were so far behind that when I started my business, I didn't have the network to get my business started because y'all, this was way back before Facebook. my first check that month was $196 for holding 2 parties. And 1 year into my business, when I was just starting to get things together and just starting to earn a nice income, we lost our house to foreclosure and we had to move to Tennessee to live with my in-laws. And so that was right as the market was crashing, if you all remember, and it was a crazy, crazy time. But I share this because if you fast forward to 2016, I was an advanced director by that time. I'd rebuilt my business. And again, this is before Facebook parties really took off. And I was earning about $1,500 to $2,000 a month. And I made the decision at the beginning of 2016 that I would treat my business like a business, and I would be intentional about the things that I did to create success. And I started to work smarter. And you guys, I want to share with you that my income now, it's growing. And currently my checks average between $7,000 and $8,000 a month. My goal within the next couple of months is to start earning $10,000 or more per month. And the reason I share this with you guys is because I started where each of you are. No matter where you are in your business, if you're barely keeping active or if you're making thousands of dollars, I've been there. And so now we're living a life that I never would have imagined. We take multiple vacations a year. We just took our 3 kids to Hawaii. God bless us. And we bought a camper so that we can camp twice a month. You guys, you can also have an abundant life. We used to have to, go out to eat, and we would always order from the dollar menu. Can anybody relate to that? And now, you get to a point where you don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. And this opportunity in front of you can give you that. There's no reason why any of you should have to live paycheck to paycheck if you're still in that situation. But there's no reason why you can't do what we've done. And so I want you to think, what could you have if you paid off the things that you need to pay off? What life could you provide your family? Things that you thought couldn't happen for years that you can do in months with this business. And there are so many consultants who've done what took me 12 years to do, that they're doing it in 1 year. And so I want you to think of this. What would you do with an extra $5,000 a month? What would you do with an extra $10,000 a month? Does that give you goosebumps? Because it gives me chills when I think about it. And when I see consultants go from that being that, $196 like I was just starting out to earning those $1,000, it gives me goosebumps because I love to see people succeed in this business. You can have those big checks this summer, you guys. So I want to share with you the summer success formula. Is everybody ready? So this, thank you to my friend Kristen. I'm not sure if she created this, but can everybody see this on the screen? Let me get some head nods or some yes in the chat. Oh, I love that. Teresa says that makes her want to cry thinking about that. Okay. And so, all right, so y'all can see my screen. So this summertime success, the Have It All formula. So I want you to think about, if you make 10 outreaches a day, and these can be Facebook messages, 3 of those people will respond back, because we know a lot of people just don't respond. And that's going to give you 3 contacts, which should give you 1 booking. So thank you. And I got a broken sucker, y'all. This is my life. So 3 contacts will get you 1 booking. And so do that 5 days a week. That's going to be 15 contacts a day. 15 contacts a week. 15 contacts a week would be 5 bookings a week. So imagine what you can do with 5 bookings a week. And then if you do that, June, July, and August, you guys, that's like 13 weeks. 15 contacts for 13 weeks. And I know this is a lot of numbers. So if you're not good at math, or if like, I'll give this to everybody so that you can have this afterwards to kind of analyze it if you want. But 195 contacts, 5 bookings per week for 13 weeks is 65 parties. 65 parties, and the 20% cancellation, which is about 13, is going to give you 52 parties. So 52 shows at about $400 average, which, you know, yours might be higher or lower than that, but just on average, that's $20,600 or $20,800 in sales. And so think about that. That's $20,800 trip points towards Disney. And that's about 17 shows a month or 4 shows a week. 20,800 divided by 3, so those 3 months, is $6,933 in sales per month. Do y'all ever look at the top sellers on your team and you see them selling that 5, 6, 7, 8,000? You're like, how do they do that? 4 shows a week. That's $1,733 commission a month. Y'all, that's just on your own, not including if you build a team. And so what would that do for you guys? Because that would total $1,733, if you add that together, is $5,199. So think about that. What would you do with $5,199? So Jessica, come back to those questions at the end. All right, so just hold that thought. Okay, so all it takes, you guys, is 10 to 15 minutes a day for the contacts. Then spend about an hour a day for host coaching and relationship building. So do you see? 1 hour and 15 minutes a day, and you can make this income. So following the systems that your director has given you, you guys, you can have success. So I'm going to give you some practical tips, okay? So at the beginning, when we talked about what kind of summer you want to have, think back to that. And when you do these things, you can have the income that you're looking for, and it will grow. And if you build a team, it grows even faster. But I wanted to share with you, even if you're not recruiting, even if you're just selling, look at the income potential. And then add in sharing the business with others, and it can grow twice as fast. So, okay, so scheduling, that's the big thing, right? Okay, so that's all fine and dandy, but when am I gonna fit this in my busy summer schedule? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So y'all, every Sunday, I spend 1 hour mapping out my time for the week. I grab a cup of coffee, I sit down in the afternoon. It's like an easier time for us. So after things settle down from church or whatever, or you could do it early morning, late at night, whatever works for you and your family. But I sit down with my calendar, I sit down with my phone, and I write out. I use a paper calendar, and I write out everything. I schedule my time. I take a calendar and schedule everything. And y'all, I literally do schedule everything. I write in when we are eating. I write in when I'm doing laundry. I even schedule time for hobbies because I love quilting and I want to be able to quilt every week. And so I make sure I schedule time for that. And then, so when you're looking at that, you schedule all your big blocks. And then schedule in what appointments do you have? You know, do you have dentist appointments, doctor's appointments? You know, do you need to get your hair done, your nails done? Schedule those things. Family activities. When do you want to go to the park? When are you going to go on vacation? When do you want to take your kids to the pool? What events do you have coming up this week? Then, what meetings do you have for the week? Next, you know, so if you have your team meeting coming up, when will you work your business? Find pockets of time to work. They can be 15-minute blocks. You can work in the morning, lunchtime, late at night. So I personally like to work early and work late and spend the day with my family. So as you can see that during the day, I typically don't work during this time. So nobody wants to let me work. So I'm not in the office at this time. So, okay. So I like to use a calendar that has 15-minute blocks or 30-minute blocks. And I stay connected to business all summer long by scheduling in to attend team meetings and schedule time to listen to audiobooks or to read. And I love listening to podcasts or audio trainings while folding laundry and doing dishes. It's the best time that you can get those things accomplished. I always say, like, y'all can just pray for me with my kids. It's like, I think I may have to change locations of where I'm at. All right, so think of how you can delegate things in your life. And so things like click lists, you guys, and we're gonna take a little trip, so y'all can work with me. Okay, so think of how you can delegate things like click list. And y'all wait. I'm sorry. Hold on just a second. Okay, real life, y'all. So we might. Okay, so. All right, so I apologize for our interruption. Okay, so think of how you can delegate things in your life. So I love click list with Kroger. I can make my grocery list late at night and pick it up the next day instead of trying to take 3 kids to the grocery. Can y'all imagine taking this to the grocery with you in the middle of the afternoon? Doesn't happen. So also, do you have older kids that are home for the summer? Have them help you in your office. They can make host packets. They can get things ready to mail. They can stamp catalogs. You can pay them, and it's a tax write-off. I pay my 11-year-old $5 an hour to work in my office, and he's as happy as can be. So also, if you can also, maybe there's some teenagers in your neighborhood, so you could pay a teenager to come work in your office for a couple hours a week. And so that's another great way that you can do it. And then automate anything that you can. Use a posting service such as Post My Party or SendShare. Batch things together, such as your host coaching. Send all your messages at the same time. Make 10 to 15 host packets at a time so they're ready to go. Don't look at notifications. That's another big one, you guys. Facebook is a brain sucker. And it will, it's a time sucker and a brain sucker, but it will completely destroy your schedule, because when you get on there and it's like, oh, look, Sally got a dog. Oh, he's so cute. And you start scrolling through, and next thing you know, all your office time is gone. So turn off notifications. Don't look at them. And even in parties, because if you try to go through your notifications when you're running 4 parties a week, you're going to be so distracted of going back and forth, you're never going to make it through it all. So what I do is I just go into that individual party and I scroll through answering things, messaging, and messaging and commenting on games and posts. And just for the record, I don't want to get stuck on it, but if you're one of the people like me that's in Facebook jail, start a second account. And so if you have a second Facebook account, then you can log onto that account to comment on all those games and posts and things like that, using your primary account for posting, secondary account for commenting and liking things. And that's been helpful for me. So, okay. Like I said, turn off notifications. I turn off notifications for Facebook. I make myself hidden from the chat so that I turn off the chat so people can't see that I'm online. I also, I mute my text messages, and I turned off my email notifications, the ding that comes up, because I get so distracted by those dings, and I automatically, it's that instant gratification that you want to go check that ding really quick and see who sent me a fun email. Oh, look, yay, it's spam. So turn those off, because it's not going to be serving you well. Twice a day, I'll scroll through notifications looking for anything that's outside my parties that I might need to see. So maybe, there might be some family notification or whatever, a picture that you were tagged in that you need to look at, whatever. So do that and set a timer. I like to set a timer for 15 minutes and give myself 15 minutes to do that scrolling or doing whatever. And when that timer goes off, it helps you to stay conscious of your time so you don't get sucked into the Facebook world. Also, really important, you guys, check your team page daily to make sure you don't miss any important announcements. A lot of that you miss because of all those notifications with your parties. So I make a conscious effort, I put it on my list, to go to my team page every day to make sure to check through to see if my director has given me any updates, or if I've, there's a call coming up or a training I needed to check out or something like that. Yes, I even do that as an executive. I look to see what my director is telling me. So it's important. And then, how many of you have kids at home for the summer? Now, we homeschool, so my kids are always here. You'd think that I would be drinking all the time, all day long at this point, but I'm not. So because of this, it's really important to me that I spend time with my kids and I'm not working all the time. So keep in mind that depending on your goals and what level of income you want, your schedule may look different than mine. So here's a game changer for you if you aren't already doing this. Are you ready? And you don't have to feel bad for me, Jessica. I love my kids, but I'm usually not in my office at this time, so they're kind of like they don't know what to do. We're usually eating lunch, so they're off schedule. But okay, so every night before you go to bed, write out a to-do list. Write everything on it. I write business and personal tasks. Then, and by the way, you guys, if you're a paper person, get yourself, like you can go to Target or something, get yourself one of those little notepads where you can just rip them off and start from scratch every day. If you're more of a technology person, then Google Keep is amazing. And the reason I like Google Keep is because I star or highlight the income producing activities. And I do that on my paper or if I'm using Google Keep. But the thing I like about Google Keep is I can move them around and put the most important tasks at the top. And so you want to focus on income producing activities. These are things like host coaching, bookings, recruiting follow-ups. And then pinpoint the top 3 things that you need to accomplish. And so I can highlight those top 3, star them, circle them, whatever, knowing that those are the 3 things that I have to get done that next day. And then anything beyond that, I can move to the next day if I need to. But those 3 things are things that I have to get done. And by doing this at night before you go to sleep, you're going to sleep better and you're going to be ready to attack that list when you get up. Now, to accomplish the goals I set for myself, I get up at 6:30 a.m. And that might be late for some of you. That might be early for some of you. But you do what you need to do kind of around your schedule. And so the reason I say 6:30 is because that gives me a while before my 4-year-old wakes up so that I can do my Miracle Morning. And if you're not familiar with Miracle Morning, you can read Hal Elrod's book, Miracle Morning, or you can watch his YouTube video. But once I finish that, I send my host coaching messages to my hosts for the week. And I announce winners from yesterday's games on each of my parties. I scroll through the answer to answer any questions, and I comment where is needed. And then I check my email. And often I also have a couple of coaching calls. So if you're a rising leader in the company, then that might be something you're scheduling those. So I usually schedule my coaching calls right at the end of my morning schedule, or I always try to schedule coaching calls. And same thing for you. If you're scheduling a call to talk to your director, see if you can fit in either at the end of your work routine or the beginning of your work routine, not in the middle, because you want that focused work, that chunk of time. And so you can have calls at the beginning or the end. Same thing for if I'm making host coaching calls or if I'm making recruiting follow-up calls or something. I do them at the beginning or the end so that I have focused block time in between. So, So then by this time, Taylor, my daughter, is awake and I get her breakfast and then I just finish up in my office, like kind of finish whatever needs to get done, and then I shut it down. And I spend the morning playing games with her, doing household chores, whatever else needs to be done. And again, these things are scheduled. I know that she wakes up at the same time basically every day, so I schedule those things. And then during the school year, this is when we do schoolwork. So when she gets up, that's generally when we start, like 9 o'clock. We start schoolwork, and then we have lunch. And after lunch, I schedule quiet time where Taylor watches her iPad or she goes outside with the boys while I work in my office for a couple hours. And during this time, this is when I schedule my, I work on sending booking messages and recruiting messages. So this is when I personally do my contacting during the day. And then I follow up on anything else I didn't get done in the morning. So my goal is when my husband walks in the door from work, Pampered Chef goes away until after the kids are in bed, and sometimes for the entire rest of the night, depending on what we have going on. And when my boys were small, these are those of you that have small kids, these are what what worked for me, is when my boys were small, I'd give them rewards for letting me work. So I had a prize basket, and when they played quietly for 30 minutes so that I could work, I would let them pick a prize out of the basket. The basket had things from the dollar store, like I would take them every so often and let them pick out stuff to go in the basket. And this was when they were like 3 or 4 years old. Before that, I had to work in smaller chunks of time. But this worked by that time. They were 3, 4, 5, and they would do 30-minute blocks. And another tactic was I pulled out the Play-Doh. I hate Play-Doh. I let them play with it while I worked, and that was the only time that they got to play with Play-Doh. So now that they're older, Taylor's 4.5, I use a reward system in a different way. When they allow me to work throughout the week, once a week during the summer, we'll schedule an outing to the pool or to the park or somewhere fun. But remember that this business is flexible, but it is not optional. And you can flex yourself right out of the business this summer. So it's not always going to be perfect, but you guys, each day is a new day. And when you start over each day with a fresh start, then you can get back to doing it. And if you miss a day, just get right back on it and start where you left off. Don't try to play catch up. Just start fresh each day. And so also, you want your business to be something that allows you to spend time with your family and not take away from your family. So think of all the places that you're going to be this summer: the lake, the pool, the park, picnics, barbecues, camping, vacation. And the best thing about our business is it can go with you. And we go camping twice a month, and I just take my computer with me and I run my business from a campground. And I check on my parties in the morning, and then at night, and I spend the whole day with my family. And sometimes I will just work in the morning, and then we'll have the whole day, and it bleeds into the night to where I just do the morning, depending on where we are and what we're doing. But always carry catalogs with you because you want to be prepared for business when you're out and about this summer. Also have host packets and opportunity brochures with you. Know when your available dates are. And if you do cooking shows, know when your next available dates are. So take food to picnics and barbecues in the new Cool and Serve bowls. Always, always, always prepare a recipe in your Pampered Chef products, or taking Pampered Chef products with you to get the most out of it. The thing is, you guys, be open for business all the time. The business is out there, but the question is, are your doors open? In the world of social media, you can have it all if you're willing to keep your doors open all summer long. And if you do cooking shows, then just make sure you schedule those in just like everything else, and schedule that time for a cooking show. And the best thing about that is if you have that time scheduled for a cooking show, then it's already scheduled. And what I would do, I don't do many cooking shows right now, but when I was, if I scheduled for a cooking show and it canceled, I still left my house and I worked during that time. So I would be like, oh, I got to work. So my family was already prepared for me to be working. I would just pack up my computer and the things that I needed, and I would go to Starbucks or McDonald's or wherever and sit and work from there remotely, booking shows to replace the one that I just lost, and so on and so forth. So hopefully that helps you guys. So I want to give you a call to action. Share on your team page your summer why. Why are you working this summer? What will it do for your family? What's your summer income goal? What will you do with the money? And how will working help you do those things that you want to accomplish? And last, on your notes, share with your director your takeaways from today's call. And you guys, I hope this helped. And we want to open up for Q&A. Again, I apologize for my interruption in the middle, but it just shows you that it's life. And no matter what, like, you may look at your upline and your directors and think that they are on a pedestal, but you guys, we're human just like you. And we do these tasks just like you. So I'll be working my business, and I can't wait to see all of you guys working yours as well. So, all right. So you guys are going to open up for Q&A. If you need to go, it is 12:30. So the Q&A will be recorded. So feel free to hop off if you're on your lunch break or whatever, but we'll stick around for a few more minutes. I'm going to open this again so I can see the chat. Any questions that I didn't get answered, if y'all can throw those out at me right now. I know Jessica had a question. And thanks you guys. I see Martin and Melody, you're welcome, and thank you. Okay, so I'm going to pop up here. I know Jessica said you can do that while camping. My husband says I don't need that stuff. Okay, so when I'm camping, what I do is I sneak out of the camper while everybody's still sleeping, and I'll sit at the picnic table because there's always a picnic table or a pavilion or something. So I'll take my computer, I pop out, and I just go sit and I work. I do a lot of calls, like we do Saturday morning training calls, and I just do that from the campsite. And the thing is like, you can be creative with your work if you're willing to do it. And I don't spend a lot of time. It's like an hour. I get up early enough that I can spend an hour doing it. And then I go have breakfast with my family, do our camping activities and all that stuff. So there is that. And looking for questions. Any other questions? And feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions too. I was scrolling up to see any that I missed. And I know I'm going to scroll back up to where Jessica, I know that Jessica had a question about what happens if one year it's really good, but the next year it's not so good. So I will tell you, Jessica, on that note, is I firmly believe that if you treat your business like a business every day, then it will pay you like a business. And yes, some months I make more than others, but what we've done is we just raise the bar. And so, I remember we used to budget. We got to a point where several months my income was at least $1,700. That was the lowest. And so I would say we would budget for $1,700, and anything over there was extra to help pay off bills and pay off debt and stuff like that. And then we bumped it up. And so now, now we budget with $6,000 because we know like that's the minimum I've had in the past several months. And so I know that that's kind of where my bar is. And so and I'll be honest, last month I started the month of May with only 5 parties on my calendar. And so I just worked really hard to refill that, I'm sorry, was it May or June? When did we go to Hawaii? I don't remember. I came back from Hawaii to a practically empty calendar, and I had to work to rebuild my calendar. And so that's the thing is you can't just say, you know what, that's okay, I'm going to let it be. You have to be committed to getting on there and getting the bookings. And so work with your director with words to say, or if you're finding that you're getting way more no's, like your statistics is way more than 10, like asking 10 and you're not getting one, then you can talk to your director about, maybe just a word needs to be tweaked. How many consultants do you have under you? So my team, my entire organization right now, we currently have, because I just did updates this morning, 461 on our team. And I will say that at the beginning of 2016, my team was basically non-existent. I had, I think, 8 left in my personal team that my team had fallen apart. And that's where I just said no more. And I just started really working. And I can tell you the magic formula if y'all want it. And so, let's see, okay, so Susan, I'm not seeing your messages, Susan, but, okay, so, the magic formula, you guys, is if you're doing cooking shows, 2 cooking shows a week and 2 recruits a month will create exponential growth. If you're doing virtual parties, 4 virtual parties a week and 2 personal recruits a month to have that exponential growth. And so, also, how do you like to get bookings from virtual parties? So and yes, I'm going to send the booking formula that I shared. So I personally use these wordings. This wording, it is, and I got it. Got this from one of our directors that was having great success, and I was like, "What are you saying?" So when I'm in a virtual party, I send this message to every single person that joined. And I'll send a bunch of them, and then I wait a little while, send a bunch, and then I wait a little while so that it doesn't flag me as spam. But it says like, "Hi, Susie. Thanks for joining Mary's virtual Pampered Chef party. I would love to pamper your kitchen and help you earn free products. The rewards are amazing. Would you like to give it a try and host a virtual party in June? Mary will also get credit for your party." And I can share those words with, and this doesn't have the right dates because it would be where you would want to update the dates, but I'll share that. So that's not what I put in the chat is not the right dates, but you just change it. And yes, Jessica, you can unmute yourself. And Stephanie, I'm so confused of like, I'm looking, can't even get parties, much less recruits. It's hard to tell anyone to join when you can't get parties. We are dead in the water. We have exhausted every possibility. Okay.
Come on, you need to go sit down now.
So,
come on. Go.
Jessica, did you have a question? You're unmuted.
I did, but my son's interrupting me. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. And yeah, and Susan, I still don't see your question, but how do you fight the urge to answer everyone immediately? I turn off notifications. And you, and here's the thing is they're not going to think that you're absent. They're going to think that you have a life because, if you're answering everything right after right after the beginning, or, if you're just constantly answering, they're going to think that you live on Facebook, and it's not good for your business. It's not good for recruiting, and they don't need that immediate answer. But generally, as long as you're replying to them within 24 hours, it's really important that you are replying within 24 hours. But that's okay if you're not replying immediately. And Susan, okay. So Susan, I do see what you're saying, and that. So I can tell you that following the training and there are bookings out there and there's business out there, and you can go back to past hosts and the and like beginning party. And this is something, and this is not against you, it's not against your team members, but if I'm not getting bookings and I'm not getting people to join parties, and if it happens a couple of times, once a week, whatever, then I know that maybe it's just the party. If it's happening multiple times, I look in the mirror and I see, what am I doing that I can change? So one is talking to your director, setting up a call to see how can I make a difference in my business of do I need to change the template that I'm using? Maybe my template's boring, and I've had that personally. Am I using bad coaching that I'm not doing what I need as a coach to get my host to get enough people in the party? I've been there too. Is it that I'm not following up with people to get the sales? Been there, done that. So you start looking at those and asking yourself, what am I doing what am I not doing that other people that are having success are doing? And so you can reach out to some successful people in the business, talk to your director and see what wording can you use. Because we see there are lots of people that are having success with virtual parties. So we can't say that it's not working. And you can't say that there aren't contacts out there, because there are. It's going back to the beginning and starting from scratch. And again, I've been there. I've had to start my calendar from scratch. I've been at that point where I didn't think I knew anybody else. But I would think that if you go back through Facebook and go through every single person that that you could find 6 people that could host parties if you send messages. And if you haven't sent messages in a long time to somebody, you can send them again. And so I hope that helps. I'm not sure if that does or not, but hopefully that helps in saying, kind of looking and see what you can do differently and having that call with your director, chatting with your director to see what you can change. And any other questions that I didn't answer? Would business cards help? To be honest, I don't use business cards. I have not used business cards in a long time. So, and Angie, we're actually going to be having a call about recruiting coming up soon. And one thing I will tell you is ask everyone and judge no one. That's like the biggest tip for getting sharing the opportunity. I'm not sure. I think it's in like the third week or something, but every single week is going to be powerful tips. And so I can give you my tips of the biggest thing that I can say is in every single party that you do, look for those people that are really active, really engaged, that are really like on fire. And those people that are on fire, you can say, send a message and say, hey, Susie, you were so much fun to have in Mary's party. I would love to have you on my team. Have you ever thought about being a consultant before? And then when you ask that question, whatever they respond back, screenshot it and send it to your director and let them help you with what to say back. And so any of the directors, I apologize if that's not what you do, but that's my best advice, because we will help you learn the skills of how to answer back to those. Would doing a cooking with kids party be a good idea? It's a great idea, and it's lots of fun if you like being with kids. Some people don't like that. So I find it to be very overwhelming to do cooking with kids, but other people absolutely love it, and it's being prepared. And we actually have actually a template for that. If you look up into the party themes, there is a cooking with kids, like a whole cooking show, like a timeline, all that template, not timeline, but like the whole template for doing a cooking show with kids. So the last thing I will say, Susan, for you and anybody else that is in that negative headspace is change your mindset. So Miracle Morning is going to be my best advice, because when you get into that mental space of saying it's not working and nothing's working and everything I'm doing, then usually it's the secret that is stopping you from success. And that means, and I'm going to close on this because I know I've got to go. I've got a meeting to get at. But so what happens is we put up a wall, and our reticular activating system is going with that wall. Because when you said, I can't get bookings, I'm not getting bookings, I don't know I don't have the people, I don't know enough people, and those type things, instead of saying, I say, I love how easily I attract go-getters and self-starters to my team. And I say, bookings come to me quickly and easily. And then my mind, my reticular activating system goes to work finding those things. It's the whole principle of like when you buy a red car, then you see red cars everywhere. When you say to yourself, bookings come to me quickly and easily, then your mindset changes and you start to see those bookings everywhere you go. And so hopefully that helps. You guys, I got to go. But if you have other questions, Susan, if you want to reach out to me, I'd be happy to chat with you. But I have to get my son to jiu-jitsu. And so, and we're like a 25-minute drive and I'm 20 minutes away. So, so y'all have a great day. I'll post the recording later if you want to re-listen to it. So bye.